I am a really big fan of Rocky. Like the whole Rocky series, I love, but Rocky 1 is like top 20 movies of all time. Not quite top 10, but like really fucking close to top 10. I love Rocky so much. I've seen it a million times. I love the Rocky character more than anything. I love the Rocky character. He's probably top 5 characters. Like top 5 favorite movie characters. Rocky. He's great. He's Stallone's creation. Stallone wrote the original Rocky, and then he starred in it, and he kept the franchise going. And he like that's his alter ego. The way a lot of artists have their alter egos or whatever. For me, I think Stallone and Rocky, they are, like so. I love Rocky. So last year, Creed came out. I couldn't see Creed because obviously I was not watching films directed by men. So we're in the 4th day of July or whatever. July. Wow, I skipped months. February. January? I don't know. I'm really upset right now. Okay, January. And so I was going to watch Creed, but then I was like, fuck, I haven't watched Rocky Balboa. It came out 10 years ago now, and I feel old. That was when I was in college, and that was 10 years ago. But I missed it. So I started with Rocky Balboa, and then obviously I moved into Creed. So the review's going to be a little of both. Rocky Balboa is great. It's good. It's not a great film, but it's great if you love the character of Rocky, because it's about Rocky dealing with the grief of losing his wife and finding a new footing in his life, and what the past can mean to people, and whether you should dwell in it or move forward, and how hard that can be, especially if you had a great past. And he finds himself again in the ring, but in the same time, you have Milo Ventimiglia. I can't say his last name, even though I watched him religiously on Gilmore Girls. Milo Ventimiglia. There's a G and an L next to each other. How am I supposed to pronounce that? Playing his son, who is dealing with the angst of growing up in the shadow of Rocky being his father. And Rocky, at one point, gives him this, like, just the most amazing, like, motivational speech about, like, not blaming your lot in life on anybody but yourself, and relying on yourself, and it's just so fucking good. And I lost my shit. I just cried. I lost it. Because the thing that's so great about Rocky is he's just a guy, but he's a really wise guy, and he's always that way, and he always has these little things to help people because he's a nice dude. And that's what is just so great about watching this character and Stallone play the character. And then obviously Rocky goes the distance in the next old man fight that he does, because that's what Rocky does. So then we have Creed. He directed Rocky Balboa, Stallone did, and wrote it. So then we have Creed, and Creed takes place, a few years after Rocky Balboa, and Creed obviously is about the youngest son of Apollo Creed. And in this case, the directing and part of the writing came with Ryan Coogler, who did Fruitvale Station, which is a great film. You should watch that. And it's about the youngest son of Apollo, who was the result of an affair, and that causes a lot of strife for the character, and also why he has to go across country to train with Rocky. There's going to be some spoilers. I'm going to spoil the film a little bit. What was great in this one, part of why I love original Rocky, is the romance with Adrian. And I think it's one of the great romances. And in this one, you get another great romance in Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson, in that these are two people two driven people who are each other's equals, and they treat each other that way. And it's really nice to see that kind of romance where they're not competing, and they're not one isn't stronger than the other. They are a true ideal partner. I think that's a nice thing to see. Um, and then you get Rocky, who is like getting pulled back in yet again. And at this point, there's all these little callbacks to things that were in Rocky Balboa, little things that are in this film. Um, in watching them back to back, I was able to see that, and I was like, I see what you did there, and I like it. Um, so this is where I get really spoilery. So about like halfway through, he's got this battle, he's got this fight that he's gonna do, and then Rocky finds out that he has cancer, and he's just like, fuck it, because he saw Adrian die from this and try to fight it and die, and he's just like, I'm just gonna, not fight this one, and then like Creed is just like, fuck you, man. If I'm gonna fight, you're gonna fight, and it's like I'm crying so hard at that point. Um, and they just sort of make each other keep fighting. And there's this great quote. I'm gonna find it. I tweeted it. I kind of want to get it like tattooed on my arm because it's so fucking good. Um, he says one step, one punch, one round at a time. Like shit. I know that's like boxing, and I know that like boxing metaphors are often metaphors for life, but like that's a fucking good metaphor. That's like all you need. Just keep repeating that to yourself, and then just keep going. And go the distance. That's what Rocky would do. Um, he was very emotional, and then I'm crying. Like I cried through the whole last 20 minutes of this movie because I love it so much, and I love these characters. And what I loved about Creed was that they created new characters, but they felt as real and lived in as the characters in the original Rocky. And I felt that was wonderful. Also in the original Rocky, he has these two turtles named Cuff and Link that he bought so that he could go into the pet store and flirt with Adrian. And in this one, he has turtles. He still has turtles. 40 years later, and he still has turtles. It's really good. My only complaint about Creed, and I'm sure this had to have been like a casting issue or something, was Rocky's going through fucking chemo, and he has this like, it takes about 40 minutes to get into the movie where someone finally is like, hey, where's your son? Who's in the last movie? And he mentions like that he moved to Vancouver to get out of like living in Philly, where his father is the most famous man in the city, right? And that made sense, and I bought that until he gets diagnosed with cancer and goes through chemo, and it's like, wouldn't he come back from Vancouver for that? I feel like he would come back from Vancouver to be with his father while he was fighting cancer when his mother had died of cancer. And I wonder, like, if it was because they couldn't like get Milo to come and be in it, or if they like were doing this father son thing with Creed, and so they didn't want to have like another son to come in and complicate things. That was really, in terms of like reality, I felt like that didn't quite jive. Um, that said, I as I just said, I really love Rocky, and I thought this was just a great continuation. And I if they make more, I will watch them, and I'll probably cry some more. Except like now, because they're like telling you like, hey, Rocky's getting old, and it's like he's fighting cancer, and then it made me think like Sylvester Stallone is getting old. Like, how old is Sylvester Stallone? He's 69. That's not that old, but it's like it's making me face the mortality of the character. Except that I can continue to watch the original Rocky over and over again, and that's the beauty of cinema. That movie's not going anywhere, but now I'm just really sad. So I'm gonna like go sit here and cry by myself. You guys should watch. You should watch Creed. We should watch all of the Rocky films. To be honest, like they're hit and miss, but they're great at the same time. And Rocky's just such a great character. I love him. He's my fave. Okay, that's all I have to say. You should watch these movies. Rocky Balboa, Creed, good films.